Welcome back to the Goddess Blueprint, Change Your Life in 30 Days. This is lesson 3. We're just going to hop right into it because there's a lot for us to cover. One thing I want you to know is bear with me. I know that these videos can get long, but there's just so much information I want to cover. So know that when I create these videos, I will be creating shorts so that way you can get little tidbits of each of the segments to make it a little bit easier, because I am a pattern seer and I see things from a bird's eye view as the Aquarius visionary. That's my rising sign. I try to pour in so much in these videos, and I know that they can get overwhelming. One of the things I'm just going to go over briefly is group 7. So this kind of took off like a wildfire. And so in my first lesson, I talked about superiority and inferiority and how we are balancing both. And when we are chasing that sense of belonging and acceptance, we lose ourselves. So when this group 7 imploded, it gave a sense of belonging for a lot of people. And it was like you were being connected to like-minded souls that resonate with you. I did have somebody comment on the first lesson that she thought I was very out of touch because of when I was talking about keeping up with the Joneses. So I want you to know that when I create these videos and I share a pattern that I'm seeing, it is through observation. It is not because I haven't experienced those things. It is just that I was able to pull myself out of them and look at it from a bird's eye view. The message in that was that we get caught up through the lens of watching others, thinking that that is happiness, that is joy. And then we get into scarcity mode and not feeling like we have enough because we're comparing ourselves to what other people have. This wasn't coming from judgment. This was not coming from a place of saying, I have all this disposable income to keep up with the Joneses. That was not my intent. So if it came across that way, I truly apologize, because I am just sharing my observation through the lens of how I see things and why we are here in this mess right now today. That is the only thing that I was trying to make a point of view of how we get sucked in to consumerism because we believe our worth is outside of us. Or this lesson is about how you can start looking at the patterns so that you can write your own script. And remember, we're a free will. One of the things I wanted to talk about is labels. When you don't know who you are, you wear these labels. And I love Joe Dispenza's analogy of being inside of a jar and there's a label and you can't read the label, but other people can. And it's your subconscious beliefs that build this reality for yourself. So going back to superiority and inferiority, when you are unaware that you are looking through the lens of scarcity, then you are projecting that out in the world, and that's all you see. It's not being out of touch. It's just the way that our reticular activating system works. And if you don't know what that is, it's found at the base of your skull. And anytime you focus on something, that is all you see. Just the same reason, like if you're looking for a red car and you've been focusing on a red car, and then you go out in the world and all you see is red cars. But going back to labels, not only do we project these labels or live through this illusion of who we think we are, people are reading those labels. So that's how people read you when they believe that that's the type of person you are, because that's what you're projecting out into the world. And we're trying to change our labels. so that we can write our own script instead of living our life through the script that other people have put on us. And the only way that you can change the script is to change the labels, change the subconscious belief, change the way that you are seeing and experiencing your reality. The one thing is true is that whenever you try to rip off your label, the closest people around you feel uncomfortable because they don't know you as a different label. So they're always going to like pull you back in, pull you back into the jar. No, you're not that type of person. This is how I know you, and I want you to stay the same. So that's where you can feel the discomfort of being rejected, or you can feel like people that you care about are falling away, or you might be feeling a lot of judgment. And you have to get comfortable with that. And either they're going to love your authenticity or they're not. I used to think that authenticity was wearing your heart on your sleeve and just sharing everything about yourself and not hiding things. That is not what authenticity is. Authenticity is that you show up as real and as who you are, and you don't conform and shape yourself. You don't become a shapeshifter for acceptance. That was the beginning. That was the whole premise around lesson 1. Lesson 2, we went over the mile markers, and the mile markers show in your natal chart what to expect when you have those returns, because you are always being guided. Whether you believe it or not, you are made of stardust. You have the galaxy within you. You are telepathically communicating with the cosmos. So every time there's a transit, you are experiencing that transit within. And things in your environment, because everything is energy, is going to show proof of that. And so when you are not aware of who you are and you're not aware of your surroundings and things happen, you always are like, why does this keep happening to me? We are the alchemist here. We are playing with the elements, and the elements are showing us our self-growth journey. We are going through a journey of self-actualization, not from being the character or the avatar that were labels that were put on us. We are trying to find our own truth, our own authenticity, our own way of being without conforming and contorting and being a false self, so that we are accepted. That's what this is about, your goddess blueprint. And the reason why I speak with women is because we all know that there has been a patriarchal system that has been in place that has brought us into this illusion of what it means to be a woman. So in this lesson, I do want to talk about aspects in your chart. And those are those angles of how the planets are communicating with each other in your chart. And you'll see that because you'll see like a triangle, or you'll see a star. You'll see like 2 circles with a line. You'll see 1 circle with a line. These are all aspects of showing you how the planets are communicating. And the aspects are angles in your chart that are connecting through degrees, because when you look at a natal chart or your astrological chart, there's 360 degrees, and each house, each zodiac sign has 30 degrees. So I'm going to just go over briefly what those aspects mean. So an opposition is when you have one planet in one house and completely opposite, exactly opposite of that, you have another planet, which is called an opposition. And that is a 180-degree angle. And this is the push and pull that you are trying to create more balance. Right? It's like there's a huge challenge there with an opposition, but you are learning about yourself through this opposition. And then we have a square, And a square is 90-degree angles to another planet. And this is about your obstacles and your challenges. So nothing is to hurt you. Everything is to help with your self-growth journey and your actualization. We have trines, and trines are, when you see the triangle, the 120-degree, where two signs of the same element signify a connection to innate abilities related to the element. It's connecting harmony. It's harmony, but it's also what the element is. So be favorable when you have a trine. Now you also have a conjunction, and a conjunction means that there are two planets next to each other by 9 degrees or less. And this is more potent energy. So if you have Saturn, like right now we have Saturn and Neptune are conjunct right now. And Neptune is at the 29-degree, which is a potent, like it's like you've got to get it right this time before it moves into 0 degrees Aries. And so this is, it expresses energies together, unique blend of traits, influence, and mindset. So it's favorable because it's like your Saturn and Neptune. Saturn is saying you must achieve, and Neptune is saying your dreams, your imagination, what you're wanting to bring forth, what you're bringing into fruition. We have sextiles, and sextiles are 60 degrees positive. It's positive, and it's about your natural talents, ease, opportunities, communicating, beneficial in relationships. Okay, so this is where you have planets that are 60 degrees apart that form a sextile, and that is how it's communicating. Then you have a grand trine, and a grand trine is 3 of the same elements at 120 degrees. So it's like the trine is forming with 3 fire signs or 3 water signs or 3 earth signs, okay? Then we have a T-square, and a T-square is 180 degrees and 9 degrees to a third planet. So you have an opposition, right? That's 180 degrees, like we were talking about with the first aspect. And then you have a 90 degree planet that is forming that T. And this is tension and inner conflict. So it's trying to break away the planets. When the transit happens, the planets are trying to get rid of that inner tension that you have. And then we have a kite. And a kite is a positive, it's positive and it's active with 3 planets at 120 degrees with an opposition aspect that connects on the trine's point to a planet on the opposite side. And when you have experience a kite in your chart, how they're communicating is it's in harmony. It's about motivation to take action. It's ease of natural talent. While the opposite creates a challenge that motivates you to use those talents productively. So that's where it's like you might feel discomfort, but this kite is trying to show you how you can use it to benefit you instead of being in the discomfort. Then we have what looks like an L, which is the semi-square, which is 2 planets at a 45-degree angle. And this is a minor aspect. It's similar to a square, but it's less intense. Because remember, I was saying squares are more challenging. But if it's an L, it's not the full square, then it's not as intense. And then we also have a semi-sextile, which is 2 planets at 30 degrees apart, 60 angle, and this is cooperative energy, and it's a minor aspect. We have a quinzux, I think that's how you pronounce it, is in conjunct 150 degrees dynamic, requires adjustment and reevaluation. So when you see that in your chart, you will know that that's how they're trying to communicate. The planets are communicating that you need to readjust something. And then we have a quintile, which is at 72 degrees, and it's associated with creativity. So I know that's a lot of information, but when you understand the aspects, this is how the planets are communicating for your benefit as the player in your game. So when we think of who's running the show, like who is really the person at top, who's controlling, it's the heavenly bodies, it's the cosmos, and they are communicating with you all of the time to help you on this self-actualization, self-discovery, self-growth journey that you are on. Remember, the universe is communicating with you with frequency from your vibration, not from actual words. So, like, even if you're psychic, are you have visions, right? It can come in a symbol, it can come in a color, it can come in a flash of just a download of something. These are just bits and pieces of the universe communicating with you. Just like when you have synchronicity, that is how the universe is speaking to you. All right. So everything holds energy, and the vibration has a frequency. And so even when we think of air, water, fire, earth, holds a frequency. It's and an energetic relationship. So, like, we are all alchemists on this journey, and our natal chart has 12 houses that we are maneuvering through, and each house tells a story according to what planets and how they're communicating to other planets. So, I've given you the meaning of the planets, I've given you the aspects, and each house has an area in your chart that it's communicating with each other. So it's important to know what each house represents in the area, what zodiac sign is in that, right? In because it creates the nuance, the character, even though like the first house is Aries, and Aries has a different characteristics, say, than me being like a visionary. I'm a visionary and I'm an Aquarius rising. So Aquariuses are more future thinking, visionary, where Aries are more reactive and in the moment and taking action and pioneering something in new. So the characteristics are going to be blending because you're going to have the nuance of Aries in your first house, but according to your rising sign, it's going to have a different energy. It's going to be a combination of those two. And if you have planets in that house, you're going to want to see where they're communicating with the other planets through the aspects. And that's how you're going to read your chart. And this is how you're going to write your script as the player in your game. So your aura, I want you to remember that because everything is a vibration, a frequency, your aura is constantly giving out a vibration. Going back to labels and how people read you, it's your inner world vibrating in the external world, and that's how people are communicating with you non-verbally. That's how you judge people. That's how you feel like if their energy is good or their energy is bad, or if you need to get away from them and you're trusting your intuition. Or if you're in a situation where you're in a relationship and you know there's deception and you feel something is off, but because you don't have proof with the physical eye, you gaslight yourself into thinking that you're just making it up. But it is true, your aura is helping you communicate with the energies around you. It's important for us to understand our frequency and our vibration because this is how we're measuring our experience. So if we're in a low frequency where we're like more in our emotions, in our water, then we're going to take ourselves out of the game. And now that we know like how we're communicating uh, with the planets through our aspects, we know from the second lesson, we know what the planets represent. And in the first lesson, I talk about your avatar and how we got off track because of this idea of acceptance. And now we're trying to create and be more of a player in our game, or you're just taking up space and you're not the main character of your own movie. So when you understand who you are in these placements and you understand the planets that are in your game, then you're able to write out your script. And there's a lot of tricksters out there. There's a lot that we have to alchemize in order for us to stay consistent in the game. That's what the challenging part is. So it's like even when you watch a movie and there's this roller coaster, highs and lows, and you're rooting for the underdog to get, to get to the hero's journey. It's what makes the movie, right? And so we can't be flatline the whole time, because then there is no experience, there is no movement there. So here's another thing I want you to keep in mind is the elements, because you are an alchemizer. You are working with the elements. You are working with fire. You are working with earth. You are working with air, and you're working with water and ether. So earth is the more grounded. It is the material world. It's the pinnacles. It's money. It's things that you use to experience life, whether it's a pen that came from somebody's thought and you're using it. It's like how you are able to participate and experience the material world. It is more grounded and practical energy. You have fire energy, and fire is your inspiration. It what motivates you to take action. It is your I am energy. It is how you take something from the non-physical and bring it into the physical, because your spirit feels inspired. So for those of you who get lost with, how do I know that my spirit guides are working with me? Well, your spirit guides are inspiring and motivating you to be the best version of yourself. And they're sending you signs and synchronistic things to let you know, yes, yes, yes. And then when you feel discomfort and you feel contracted, that is the universe saying, no, no, no. And then we have water, and water is the emotional part of who we are. It's our subconscious mind. It is how we love in the world. It's what motivates us to experience love. It is also the dream state that we have, that Neptunian energy. And because we can live in a fantasy world, and if we aren't seeing the results that we want, our emotions can take us out of the game. Yes, you want to have your dreams and your aspirations, but if you get too caught up in the illusion of it, and that's where addiction comes in and avoidance, it takes you out of the game. And then we have air, and air is your thinking, it's your learning, it's your speaking. And it is how you are communicating with the ether. And you're working with all of these elements to communicate with the ether. And the ether is God consciousness. It is the plasmic form of information that is all around us. And when we use the elements and we are able to understand where it's like fire is hot, and if we are using it responsibly, we get further along. But if we don't pay attention to the signs, we get burnt, right? Air is about change, and it can happen quickly. Just think of the weather. It's like, you can experience snow, you can experience rain, you can experience the clouds coming in. The clouds are always moving. It's warm, it's cold, it's all around air that we breathe. And even thinking of how you can have water and freeze it, it turns to ice, and then it can also evaporate. So thinking of the zodiac signs, so Aries, Leo, and Sag are fire signs, and Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn are earth signs, and Cancer, Scorpio, and Pisces are water signs, And Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius are air signs. So that's just another nuance of you becoming the player, understanding that you're working with the elements. It's not just the character of the player through the zodiac sign, it's also the elements that they work with. Knowing that you're the alchemist and you're on a fool's journey, you're on a hero's journey. Each house is an area, and I'm going to go over them briefly. If you want more information about them, I'll let you can ask me. Your first house is your self-identity. Your second house is your self-worth. Your third house is how you communicate. Your fourth house is your subconscious mind. Your fifth house is your self-expression. Your sixth house is how you take care of your health and your service to the world. Your seventh house is your relationships. Your eighth house is your transformation, your shadow work. Your ninth house is your philosophy in life, your perspective, how you see the world, your truth seeking. Your 10th house is your public reputation, it's your career. Your 11th house is the social aspect of why we're here. It's humanity, it's our friendships, it's how we socialize. And then your 12th house is the spiritual aspect of you. It's your inner world. It's your psychology. It's spirituality. It's the things that people don't see. It's your imagination, bringing it to fruition. So each of those houses, you are your avatar. You understand the planets in your houses. You now understand how they're communicating with each other. You understand the elements and the nuance it brings to your character, and you understand the game board, if you will, of what you're playing on, because life is a spiral, and that is why our astrological chart is a wheel. So just think of like the yellow brick road in The Wizard of Oz. The movie is about self-actualization. It's symbolic in interpreting the story of inner transformation and the journey towards self-discovery. And learning the qualities that we seek were always within us all the whole time. And so even when you think of like Dorothy trying to find her ruby slippers so she could get home, she finds out that home is within. And then you have the lion who is seeking courage, and then he discovers that he's always had courage. And the Tin Man wanted a brain, and he discovers he's always had a brain. And the scarecrow wanted a heart, or no, it's the opposite. The scarecrow wanted the brain and the Tin Man wanted a heart. You know what I'm talking about. If you've seen the movie, you know. But again, the movie is about self-actualization and going on a self-growth journey. That's where the yellow brick road symbolizes. It's a spiral that you're going to the world of Oz, and you're trying to find the wizard. The wizard is God consciousness, okay? I'm giving you examples of movies because there's always a psychology behind it, so you can understand you are on your hero's journey. The movie Ready Player One, if you haven't seen it, it explains escapism, virtual reality addiction, nostalgia, and the relationship between the online world and the offline world. And so if you've never seen that movie, I do recommend you watch it, because this is where we're at right now with technology. I can just totally live in the virtual world, and the only relationships I have are with you on the other side of this camera and how you communicate and engage with me through the comment section. And then I could just completely forget about the world in which I live in and the things that I have to do in this world. And if I don't pay attention to this world things, my world, the reality around me, will crumble. My house will be dirty. There won't be any food in the fridge. I won't exercise. I could completely be living virtual. And then there's the movie we all know, Harry Potter. And Harry Potter is search for identity and shaping identity through choice. It's fitting in. It's about your trauma, your PTSD, coping with fears, happy memories, to thinking of happy memories to ward off the dementors, to metaphor is a metaphor for confronting despair with joy. It talks about anxiety with the character Bogart, who faces the fear and masters it. And then we have resilience and community, facing adversity by acceptance and helping others. It's a uh, power of community. Having, like with Ron, Hermione, and Harry, they have this bond. And there's also altruism, the act of kindness and helping others. And then there's the power of love and friendship, the importance of choice over ability, and the fight against prejudice and corruption. And it is about personal growth. And it's these climatic scenes and the darkness and the light that we're all going through. So you can create the movie any way that you want to. You have the ability, because you are the alchemist. You use the elements to understand how your planets in your chart are communicating with each other, and the transits happen, how they're communicating with you and affecting you. You understand your avatar, and that it's always been an inside job. And so even when I wrote my book and I channeled like how I was feeling inspired and first dealing with rejection, I took you on my hero's journey of dealing with rejection, comparing myself to others, wanting acceptance, and then listening to my inner motivation, the inspiration, my spirit speaking to me in order to take action. But I realized that the game has rules, and also the games have challenges. And so the only way that you can be an active player in your game is, one, to know your avatar and to do the shadow work. You have to go through the shadow to see the light so you can be an active participant in your game. And then I talk about these different magical tools that we have, where, like we have our imagination, we have reason, we have our intuition, we also have the universal laws. And I share all of that in my book, so it helps you to build your character in your movie and stop giving your power away to victimization and feeling like you're the victim in your movie and life is happening to you. So with everything that I've shared with you, I want you to write your script. Take the information that I've given you and give these characters, whether it's the planet or the zodiac sign, it's like they're archetypes. And how are these archetypes communicating in each area of your life for your self-growth journey, so that you can discover your true essence, your authenticity, the actual player you came here to play. And when you tap into your goddess energy, it is the most magical way of living, because you are able to see where you're in alignment, where you're out of alignment, what you need to alchemize. If you are too much in your fire, if you're too much in your emotions, if you're too much in your earth, if you're too much in your water and air, because if you're overthinking, if you're overdoing, if you feel overwhelmed, if you're overly emotional, if you're thinking about money all the time and you're just overly exhausted, you are not alchemizing the energy. It even goes back to your chakras. And I talk about that in my book also, because we have 7 chakras. So I hope that these lessons, the 1, 2, and 3, have given you some clarity, have helped you with your quantum leap. Write your story. If you are inspired, you're writing your script, share something with me about your script. I'd love to hear where you are. You can join my email list and you can reach out in email and let me know what's transpiring for you. I really want to connect with you and see if what I'm sharing is connecting and inspiring you to change your reality. If you did feel that quantum leap, let me know in the comment section. If you are ready to embody your goddess energy through your blueprint, let me know in in the comment section. Let's keep the narrative going. I'd love to engage with you and not just me speaking all of the time. And I'll see you next time.